folks is this operations map. And what this does, it allows us to see what the entire fire is doing. It shows us where, if you see this little area here where the red is, that shows us where there's open fire line. And with that, it lets us know that this is the area that we have to concentrate in and do that. Not that the rest of the fire is not important, but this is the main focus of that. Yeah. The other thing that happens with the GIS maps is we have another map that, especially for political purposes, quite frankly, is our fire progression map. And this shows us on a daily basis what the fire is doing. It shows by date the size of the fire and where it was burning. For instance, this light green area here, almost a lime green area, shows us where the fire was burning and to what extent it burned on the 8th of July. And then as the days progress, the fire gets bigger in various areas, but it shows us what the fire is doing at any given time. That they're in front of now is actually a briefing map, and this map gives a larger overview of what the fire is doing, where they want to concentrate the forces, the divisions where people are working, so that every part of the fire is broken down into sections. There's commanders for each of those sections, and by having this kind of map, it makes it a lot better than just drawing some lines on some butcher paper, which is actually what we used to do. Throw it up there and go, this is the general shape of the fire, and this is where the general area of where you're going to be working. This gives us a great depiction of where we're at, and it shows us contours, shows us all those things that we really need to act appropriately, place people where they need to be.
I was working at Chico State. In 1999, I was working on watershed projects. So just college, after I got out of school, I had some college connections that got me some work through the university, like most grad student moochers. And so I ended up having some work mapping these watersheds above Chico. And then we had a fire. There was a lot of lightning strikes and a lot of fire, and it's exact same situation as we have now 9 years later. And I had some friends with CDF, and I came out and I said, hey, I got some mapping that I've done of these creeks where the fires are. And so they said, well, come down and bring your computer, and they hired me on as an equipment operator, and they hired my computer as a piece of equipment. So I think that they used the same contract they used to sign up bulldozers. And that was right here at Silver Dollar Fairgrounds in 1999. And it's just turned into a career. I've been doing this now for 10 seasons.
So what's going on right now in the state?
Right now we had a lightning storm that started about 2,000 fires, and some of them they found right away, and they were near fire stations, and they put them out, and other ones were in the back country, and there was smoke, and some of these fires grew really large. There's nothing we could do about it. There were so many fires going on. So in response to that, we took this trailer that we've got, and we threw a plotter in there and a couple tables and a computer or two, and we're renting it to CAL FIRE, and they're using it to make maps of the fires so they can figure out where they are and how to put them out. All right. This is a GIS mapping trailer also. This one's set up to accommodate 3 users, and it's really, all these machines are set up to do massive production. So we want to have a comfortable workspace in which to gather information and also to collect it into one common spot. But then once it's all together, we need to produce a lot of maps quickly. So this is, both this trailer and the other one we've got here are mobile production studios. We've got a high-speed plotter here, we've got a high-speed laser printer, we've got a lot of paper, got a lot of ink, and we're ready to make a lot of maps. The GIS on this fire is really acting as a catch-all for any information that's coming in the door, and we put that information into a usable form, a map. So if you want to talk about land with someone, you need to have a map out. That's always been something I've come to as a geographer. And we designed them with the idea that someone's going to be looking at this from 30 feet away in a briefing, 6 o'clock in the morning, squinty eyes, haven't had their cup of coffee yet. We really want to get the key information out to them. In this case, the key information is, say, drop point 390. There's this point right here. That's a place that we're going to take and drop items during the day. There's a firefighting operation going on out here, and we've got these division breaks here. They show you that everything in this, between here and here, is one division on the fire. And within that division, if you want to take hose up to division G, you're going to take the drop point 390. And so we have a common language that we build here, place names, It's important for people like the people driving deliveries. It's important for the firefighters because they can get on the radio and they can say, we need some hose, bring it to drop point 390. So these maps we're using, we're building a language for people to talk about what's happening on a chunk of land out there that they're trying to deal with the fire on. And a lot of what we're doing here on these fires is making maps for the firefighters. But another thing that we can do that's useful with GIS is we can do some analysis. So part of the job is just to give the firefighter a map so they can go out and find the fire. Another part of it is for us to do some strategic planning. So in this case, we've got a large fire that has really exceeded anyone's ability to put it out. It's spread too fast and it's in inaccessible land. So no one's really been able to control it. Well, the land is controlling the spread of the fire. This map shows that well. If you look at the top here, you see all this barren ground, all this white area on this photo. Everywhere else you've got these dense greens. In this case, the fire is burned up into these rocky areas. There's not a lot of trees here. It's burned into old burns elsewhere where there's not much fuel. But here, this is all rocky outcrops. So the fire burned up out of the canyon through heavy trees. And then it's gotten into these rocky areas and it's pretty much gone out without anyone putting any line around it. So in this case, we can look at some aerial photos or satellite imagery and we can start planning. If we don't have enough people to put the fire out, we can put them somewhere where they can do some good. Down here we could get in there and fight it, which is good because there was plenty of fuel for the fire. Up here we couldn't get in, but we could also let this part of the fire go for a while because there were natural barriers to the fire spreading. So in this case, this is where GIS on site can provide the firefighters with a lot of tools to help them prioritize what to do with scarce resources.
Actually, my background's in geology, so I started using computers for the geology work that I was doing, and then from there just got interested in maps and learned a lot of it, well, actually most of it on the job, and took classes and learned it from mentors. We do a lot of location of data in the field, so we'll go out with a GPS, for instance, and locate manhole locations. We'll go out and GPS the locations of fire hydrants, for instance, and other types of data. We might locate information or assets you might find in a park. So our Parks and Recreation Department, for instance, locates where the ball fields are in a park or where the picnic tables are, where the trash cans are, and they use GPS to locate all those things.
John Walker with Ecologic Engineering talked just a minute about using Trimble GPS equipment to survey facilities for the city of Lincoln, California. It's always great to know how the entire water system ties together. So if you're collecting a hydrant, you automatically know that that hydrant's connected to a valve, and that valve is connected back to a main line.
The city pretty much needs the maps for maintenance purposes. If street lamp lights go out, they need to be able to go and replace it, refer back to a map that's going to have an actual location, and let them know that they're responsible for that one, whereas PG&E might be responsible for another lamp. A water line breaks, they need to know where it's at, where the valve is located, that sort of thing.
So all we're doing is now the GeoXH is dialing to the internet through the Bluetooth cellular phone. And once we have that connection, we just hang the phone off the pole and we're ready to survey, getting real-time connections or corrections from the City of Lincoln's Trimble base station. So now that we have a connection, we could go ahead and put the phone away up in the pouch. And all it is just a Bluetooth modem, no different than a modem on a computer. It's ready to go. Once we have that connection, we just start the GPS. Okay, right now we've received the almanac that it downloads from the satellites that are above us, and we are just waiting for enough satellites to start surveying. This always takes a minute. Once that radio stops flashing and we collect enough satellites, the radio will lock in, providing us real-time corrections back to the City of Lincoln's Trimble base station. Once we have a minimum of 4 satellites, it gets a lock, and we are ready to start surveying. I'm I'm about to collect a street lamp point. Highlight what I want to create, click the create button, and it starts to log. If you notice in the upper right, it's collecting, it's at 2. We have it collecting a point every 5 seconds, so right now we're up to 10, 15 seconds. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in any attributes. We're shooting a shoebox light. It's not on a traffic signal. The date is there by default, and it is a double light. At a minimum, we like to collect 30 seconds worth of points, so if it's collecting a point every 5 seconds, I'm going to give it 6 or 7 count on the screen. And once I'm finished, I'm going to hit OK and store the point and move on to the next point.